Control, where we navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between.
So we're here with Pedre and Jeremy Harding, who have been in the industry for at least 75 years. They look great for that. No, these guys, we've all been friends for over a decade. These guys have known each other for much longer than that. So I'm super excited to have you guys. Thanks for joining me. What I'd like for you to do, if you guys can just introduce yourselves, tell what you do, give me a little bit of background just so people know, and then we'll get started.
Who do you want to go to first?
It doesn't matter who goes first.
So my name is Jeremy Harding. I have been in the detail industry now for a little bit more than 30 years. Started as a detailer when I was a teenager, and I've had an incredible journey staying in the automotive field. And I started my journey with Meguiar's with this guy in 2003. So we've been friends ever since. We've worked together, done a lot of different projects. We were just talking about some before we started hitting the record button too. Now I've had a great experience working with Meguiar's. Was there for 13 years, and then I was national sales manager at Rupus USA. Had the pleasure of working with that company and that team, that family, for 7 years, and now I've joined a new company, Nacial, and we're a true manufacturer of ceramic coatings. So we're one of the few companies that can actually manufacture the raw materials required to make ceramic coatings.
Oh yeah, that's a big difference for sure.
Yeah, so for me, that was a big reason why I made the switch from to Nacial. There's a lot of brands out there, and they make and distribute fantastic products and have great staff and great support. But this was something unique, so this is why I joined Nacial.
Yeah, I want to dig into that more, but let's hear from David.
I'm Pedre. I actually am currently working for Pro Products. The company's been around for 88 years, so a stalwart in the industry. The beginning of my journey was as a lease return car detailer for a small family-owned rent-a-car company, and started selling services to the other competitors that were going back, and got injected into my bloodstream. The detailing, opened up an ad, applied. Meguiar says, "Hey, we're going to be in town interviewing. Would you like to come by?" Sure. Didn't even realize it was Meguiar's. It was the products I was actually using on the shelf. So I'm like, this is pretty cool, insane. Did that for about 10 years, went to Meguiar's in 2001, and worked with Jeremy for, the minute that he came on board, we just hit it off.
Yeah.
It was great. Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe.
So after that, there was a separation. There was business decisions made. I looked around for something else, and I landed where I wanted to. Family-owned business, traditional, integrity, pick up the phone, call the boss. So I represent the southeast of the U.S. In addition to that, I step outside of that area and help out with bilingual training nationwide. Momentarily international also will be coming on board and tied to the IDA. We actually came on board with the IDA 2015 or so, and still around doing that, and it's fun, and I really look forward to that. But 30 years in the industry, we see a lot of people, see a lot of stuff, see a lot of trends. Just do the right thing, and you're fine. So that's just me. That's my journey.
How long have you been in the industry?
So I started in '91, so it's a long time.
30 years?
Yeah, 30 plus years.
30 plus years. So I've been in like 15, 16. So we're at 75 years plus of industry experience in here, which I'm like the young kid here at this. Both you guys were on the Meguiar's Pro side, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Which I know after 3D, right? 3D came in, bought Meguiar's, and then at the Pro
3M.
side, 3M, sorry, not 3D. Boy, that would, sorry. 3M, because they had the bucks to do it.
There you go.
But I know that then they shifted their focus a little bit away from more of the Pro products, which was a shame to me, because, dude, it's awesome stuff. Like, they're Pro. Like, I grew a huge business from M100 and M200, M205, right? Like that's, not that those are the only ones. But.
Well, no, it's actually funny because that actually changed after we were no longer there. And, you've grown up with all these guys, 10, 15 years. during and after, you maintain that relationship, and you talk to some of the guys, and they're like, well, "What are you doing now?" You know, no, we're not doing that anymore. No, we're not doing that anymore. We're like, it's lost the whole focus. I mean, it's kind of sad because we helped build that. Not that it wasn't already built, but we helped take it to the next level with newer technologies, and then like to see it kind of sort of just like not be the focus anymore. It was kind of scary.
Yeah, I would say that Meguiar's Pro division, the mirror glaze division, that's really what kind of put Meguiar's on the map originally. If I have my information still correct, it was the Meguiar's professional products. If you wanted to use really high quality products, you had to be a professional in order to use them. You couldn't get access to them. And it wasn't until like the late 70s or early 80s that they actually creaed.
Which is when Barry basically took the consumer side out.
Yeah, there
right?
you go. Yeah, took it to retail.
Yeah. So there was a big push during our period of time there where they started doing a lot more retail driven products, and their goal was to get to a really high revenue and make our products readily accessible to anybody who wanted to do their own garage detailing or driveway detailing, the do-it-yourselfer market. So once they kind of started doing a lot more of that, they realized there's a lot of revenue here. It's direct to consumer. They were doing a little bit of direct to consumer, but they were really building a brand. There was an image and everything else, and it was beyond just for professionals at that point. But when we were there, I think there was 15, 16 of us in the professional division, and we attended car shows, and we did all the car club meets and things like that.
All the grassroots Super Chevy shows that no one went to. We were there.
Right.
We were the one brand, and just literally grew it, cradle to the grave. And that was the really cool thing. The other thing was that we lived on training. So it's just interesting when you look at everything's like, oh, you got to get certified training, you got to pay a bunch of bucks. We were doing that stuff for free 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because you see that dynamic shift. And we're like, we did that. Hey, remember when? So we'll talk on the phone, and it's sad because we'll call, hey, I only got 5 minutes. 45 minutes later.
Well, and we talked yesterday about kind of this, and this is almost for education of people listening to this that aren't really aware of the kind of the backside of this whole industry stuff. But direct to consumer and business, WD and professional, those almost are like three different lanes, right? And they run parallel to each other and they intersect.
Right.
And some companies tend to I'm pro first, then pro feeds the interest to the consumer, or I'm consumer first, which then gets people interested, and then I feed to the pro, right?
Right. Yeah. And then you step in the pro world. You go to WD, so we sell it in there. Then you got to help the jobber who buys it. Then you got to help the guy who he sells it to. So you're like touching everything. And then it's just interesting how the internet has changed everything. Now, I can just buy it direct, or I can just buy it from this and that, and you lose that touch. You lose that contact point that solidifies your brand and solidifies you. So as long as you stay above the fray, and that's what we did. We just toiled every day.
And what models are you guys using with the two companies?
So a little bit of everything. Definitely a lot more focused on professional distribution. My situation's a little unique, I think, because I am the only employee here in the United States. So developing marketing, developing a distribution network, developing policies and things like that are a lot more business friendly for American businesses. And so for me, I am working mostly with distribution because, and this is full transparency, we talk about this every time that I have an interview with a distributor. I want to leverage your relationships with your customers, the trust factors that you have built between you and your customers, and introduce them to products that we know are really good, but don't have a reputation yet, don't have the trust factor built in. We don't have the relationship and those dynamics. So we're leaning on you as a partner. We'll work together in order to build the brand, generate sales, and That's what my primary focus is right now. But I also do recognize that this has always been a little bit of a struggle, and I was having this conversation with another manufacturer yesterday at the show. Manufacturers spend a lot of money and time in research and development, and we rely on our distributors to get those products out to market as well. But if they have a different preference for a different brand or a different product, they may not even bring that product onto their shelves and offer it to their customers. So the customers are robbed of kind of a decision or the ability to make that buying decision because the distributor doesn't support that thing. So now what we're seeing is a shift where there's a lot more direct-to-consumer sales ability, even for professional brands. So, let's say, for example, a manufacturer comes out with, a leather cleaner and conditioner, but they're known for something else. Mm-hmm. Chances are you're not going to be able to sell that through your traditional distribution model. But if you've done all the R&D and you're doing the marketing and everything else, you need to have a viable way to sell it. So I think at least supplementing with the ability to buy that product through maybe your own e-commerce store or through Amazon or something like that, something that's where you have control of that distribution, what's offered, I think that's really important as well. So
for sure.
Our model is a traditional model. We've been around for 88 years. So that's the model that they started in, that's the model that we've kept. We have done our modifications to be able to address different levels of distribution. You got your guy who's buying at a certain level, but he's got a wide breadth of area to cover and can do that. But there's others that want to get in the game, take care of a little area that you may not be able to penetrate or get to. And so we price everything accordingly where they're able to be profitable. My job is not only to bring some on board, I'm very stringent about that because I like to basically protect the people that we do business with.
Yeah.
And not protect, but take care of them.
Right.
And be able to make them successful. Be able to not get them in a situation where they're competing against themselves. And that's the whole thing when you look at the online world coming into play and everybody's selling at a discount. And you're trying to maintain the integrity of your pricing.
Race to the bottom.
Hey, here's the value.
Yeah.
Here's the value. Well, this, that, the other thing, and it's like, okay, if it's a price thing, we're out of the discussion because you get certain things with certain responsibilities, and so our traditional market is going to the dealerships, going to the detail shops. The traditional. The way that the industry started, the way that the industry goes.
Manufacturer to trucks, to jobbers, to detail, to the shops, right?
Exactly, and then we run it through and we've maintained that. And having gone through certain iterations, I was like, yeah, I'm comfortable here. This is where I want to be. And then talking to, being able to pick up the phone, talk to the owner and say, hey, I ran across this. Have you seen this? Might be something we want to take a look at. I mean, we launched our new compound and polish at SEMA, and I was on that thing for 15 months in all kinds of conditions just to make sure it worked. Yeah. Not just bring it to market, throw it on social media, and hopefully it sticks. We wanted to make sure that what we gave you was good. So being able to do that relationship manufacturer to everyone else is tough, but the model works.
And I'm sure that you guys continue to monitor, you guys know what is working, and then you also can recognize if it begins not to work, which I think a lot of companies kind of miss the mark on that. One of the themes that we've been talking about on this podcast while we've been here is this relationship building. Yeah. I told the story on the last podcast last night that I met with a guy yesterday that was just a fortuitous, crazy meeting, and just happened to come up and wanted to start talking to me, and that will build a relationship across a lot of different things, Detailer's Roadmap, some of my other brands, like it could be really, really cool. But how does this, this is a great example, right? Like a lot of times when I talk to guys that are about our age and this, and you're younger than David and I, right? So,
just a little bit,
kind of that have been around the industry a while. I don't typically say, hey, what are you doing? I usually say, are you still with? What company are you with now? Right, which is not like to say that we're all company jumping, but you guys will be my friends if you guys are with 3 other companies. And most of my friends that I've known since I got into the industry, very few of them have been with the same company, right, over time. And so that's part of this relationship building. We've been talking about it in terms of like local shops, right? Like you really need to build relationships with the other shops in your area, whether it's in, trading employees, referring each other. Just talk a little bit about that kind of that relationship building in that context, both like from our side, I've been to your house, I haven't been to your house, but I know your dog, and like it's like all of this stuff, like we have become friends, and so many people that I could walk up to fall into that same category.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that you kind of find your tribe, right? And it doesn't need to be, it's interesting too, because I think there's a lot of misconception out there in the general detailing world that there are all these cliques, that everybody's an enemy, that, oh, well, you're either with this brand or that brand, and that means everybody else is, your enemy. That is not how it works.
That's only how it works at the very low level of things. At the manufacturer level, we're all friends. Like we love each other for the most part. There's some different personalities that aren't in each other's tribe, but right.
But what it comes down to is I think the people that have had like staying power. It's not just staying power. I guess that's probably even a bad term to use, because quite honestly, it becomes really natural. You have conversations, you see people, you hug it out every time you see them in the hallway at Mobile Tech Expo, or if you're at any different event, and you work together. You have this dynamic, and come 8 o'clock the next morning, you're out there and you're doing your job and everything else, and maybe your brands are in competition, but the companies, I think, and the people within those companies that have integrity, they're talking about their product and never putting somebody else's product down at the meantime. Here's what I can do for you. Here's what my products can do. Not here's what my products do and those don't and they're bad. Sell what you have, promote what you have, but also just be honest. It was interesting. I know I'm kind of taking this over, but I was having a conversation this morning with the distributor, and he was talking about a bad experience that he had with a previous job that he had worked at. And I said, I have to be honest because I have a bad memory. My wife tells me all the time, I told you this and you forgot all about it.
We'll get you on some nootropics.
But he was telling me about one of the policies for a previous company he worked at. They would issue credits. They would issue and write credits for people for returns, but until the customer asked enough times, they wouldn't actually credit the account. And he told me
that's like an insurance company.
There is literally, he says, there's a folder this thick filled with things that are processed and ready to go, but they haven't asked enough times yet in order to get that.
Wow.
So I said, that's like a folder of lies.
Yeah.
How can you possibly remember all these things that you said that were untrue? I have no choice. I have to be honest. So honesty and transparency, I think when you get to the manufacturing level and you've been around for a long time, like all of us here have been, I think that's probably what sets everybody apart from people that are maybe newer to the industry that think there's a lot of infighting and everything else. And again, Mobile Tech Expo, here we are, all the major brands are here. We have representatives from all the different brands. And you go out at 8, 9 o'clock at night and everybody's standing around the bar having drinks together and laughing and hugging. That brand, this brand, this brand, that brand, everything else, we're all together and we're just having a good time as friends. Yeah. So relationships, that's my take on it.
Well, the relationship, it's integrity, man. Doing when no one's looking, just do right. I'm of the mindset, I treat people as you treat me. I have no ulterior motive to do anything against you or anyone else. It's like, hey, how you doing? We're in the industry together. I'm gonna run into you on the street. We're gonna be in a competitive situation, or someone from your company. Stand up for you, who you represent, what you can bring to the customer, and let it go. And I find that I've met more people by just being that type of person. I'm not bashing you. Hopefully you're not bashing me behind my back, but for the most part, you get that, when you've been around so many people, you can kind of sort of feel it. Yeah, Yeah, oh man, great. Disingenuous. Okay, I'll be friendly, but not gonna hang out with you. And I also use contacts. Hey, Jeremy, have you met so-and-so? Yeah, what are we thinking here? Because we come from that same base, so I really respect his opinion quite a bit, and others in the industry, and I'll find out. Am I doing, am I hooking up with someone who may not have my best interest in our relationship to help us, push each other forward? Competition's great. Ego's not. I have no problem competing with you. You beat me, we're good. I'm gonna come back. I want my shot again, but don't do anything. Not disrespect is what I've learned. Treat them honestly. Look them in the eyes. Shake their hands. Things our parents told us. Things that were not thrown off to the wayside like they are today as much. It's really interesting. I go out and shake someone's hands. I always do that. I hate getting
not a knuckles guy.
You do it when you can see they're doing it, but I'm like, that to me is just a bond. It's the beginning of that bond and the growing situation. So.
Yeah, I had I saw Jay from the Marine side of G-Technic yesterday, and we did this thing where we weren't sure, like, are we shaking, are we bumping, and so I literally just put. He had a fist bump. I just put my hand completely over his fist.
That is great.
Like, this is the most awkward way that we could possibly.
But it's great.
Shake hands with that, right?
It's great.
I like what you said about checking with each other about, like, is this somebody I can trust? Which I think works really well. It's funny because that story that I told about that guy I mentioned to Rennie is like, I talked to that guy. And then he had a different kind of conversation, but I was like, well, what's your take, right? Like, right. You never know on these guys whether they're, because I mean, his resume, freaking crazy. And he's like, he was totally legit, and I was like, wow. All right, I feel 1,000% better now that you told me.
Well, you get the validation that your gut feel was right.
Yeah,
so it's actually pretty cool.
I had a conversation this morning with one of my friends who is just now, at this show, he's working for, and I can see the company from here, but he's working as an influencer, trainer, that kind of thing for that company now. And one of the things I've seen over the last 10 years is crazy because all my, I have all these detailer friends, and he's like, 10 years ago, it's all about brand X, and I love brand X, and I hate brand every other brand, and this is going to be the future, and I'm going to do this for the next 100 years, and all. And like 18 months later, it's all about brand Y, and I hate brand X now, and brand X did this. So I would encourage those that are listening, and you guys feel free to comment on this, but if you are in the detailing space, burning bridges is a terrible idea, right? Like, if you choose to align yourself with brand X, that doesn't mean brand every other brand is a bad brand. It doesn't, and especially keep your mouth shut about it, even if you feel that way. Second, I did a video back in the day called Stop Co-Branding Your Business. Yes. Your brand should be the most important brand, not a particular manufacturer that you happen to be working with at the time, because I think, like, if anybody's been through a rebrand, it freaking sucks. Yeah. So stick to your brand and educate the customers about your brand.
Absolutely. It's you never saw detailers when we started actually becoming like distributors, and then you see a lot of the brands that go and I'm gonna have my distributor. I'm gonna set up a detailer as a distributor. And you're like, we had the conversation when we were at Meguiar's. We're like, why would they do that? I mean, really? Are they doing the work, or are they going to sell the product? Can I compete against that detailer in a business conversation with a party that is going to make the decision to buy the product, or is he going to teach him how to use it?
No, he's going to be his own biggest customer.
Exactly.
That's really what's going to happen.
That's a good way to get 40 points, though.
Exactly.
If you can do the volume.
If you can do the volume, right? But, are you running your business on 16 ounces?
Yeah.
It's the scale of economics. And it's, when you're in the detailing spaces, I have yet to find, I ran my own shop. I have yet to find someone who says, are you going to use this on my car, or what are you using on my car? Hey, I want this job done, this service. Cool, we got you. Done. They never asked it. Now you get more social media, so you get more names out there, so you might get that straggler, but for the most part, you're not getting that. Don't get caught up in that hype. run your business. I got a couple of sayings. It's like, every manufacturer's got a great product, every manufacturer's got a bunch of dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, let's call it what it is. If you're making the best product 100% of the time, all these people wouldn't be here. I mean,
Right.
seriously. And then the other one is kind of sort of like, if you're branding yourself through what you're using, and this year was a down year and you lost $30,000, are they going to give you $30,000 to make up your? No. But they're going to keep selling you.
Yeah.
And you get a bad taste, something happened, a rep changed, you didn't get along with him, all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm going to try this other one, I'm going to go here. Well, what about this? And it's exactly what you said. 18 months later, next, and you know, the branding of the people. I understand you can be a brand ambassador, but as a detailer, your logo, nothing else. It's much better.
Yeah, I think that's really important on the coating side of things too, right? A lot of detailers align themselves with a coating brand, right? And
that was kind of in my mind. That's the context. Right?
yeah,
That's exactly right.
So you know, whether they're with brand A, B, C, or X, Y, Z, you know, it's typically featured very prominently on their websites and things like that. And you know, some brands will do some great things to drive business to you, but what happens when there's another product out there and you're going to make a switch? You know, now when people see your website, it looks different. You know, now it's got different information about different ceramic coatings and so on and so forth. While I think it's important to tell people what products you're using to build trust that your vehicle is going to be well taken care of and well protected, I think it's really important to make sure that you have your branding, your integrity. This is what we do for you as our detail customer. And yes, we can install these fantastic products or use these professional products in order to get the best results possible. But don't hang your entire company on somebody else's brand.
Right. Yeah, I love that. At Detailers Roadmap, when we build websites, we brand it all about the business.
Yeah.
And then we have an ability to insert a page about, you know, coding XYZ, which helps from we can get that information from the manufacturers and then put it in there to make sure the brand messaging is correct. We're giving the right, you know, it does this, and this, features and benefits, and, you know, unique selling proposition and all that stuff. But it doesn't become, we don't take all the colors from that brand and put it over the whole website, you know, because then we want to make sure it's about the brand.
Yeah, it enhances that detailer's website to show that they're using high quality products and all the things that I just previously said. But it doesn't become the selling point for somebody to get a detail or a ceramic coating installed there, because they ultimately just need to trust the detailer and the decisions that they've made, the experiences that they've had, and this is why we offer coating XYZ.
Yeah, and it's professional products, it does these things, but really, and when we talked about yesterday a bunch, and I've been talking about it a ton, is know what your customer pains are and know how your services solve those pains or problems or meet their needs.
That's just business, right? Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're making a product or if you have a business. You're trying to provide a solution for somebody's pain point. That's all it comes down to.
And give them what they're paying for. Don't let your ego stroke. You know, oh, I'm going to give you a show car. They're driving it to the construction site. They don't need a show car. You know, it's not a garage queen. Listen, you know, a friend of mine once told me, 2 ears, 1 mouth. If you use them in proportion, you're probably ahead of the game. Works for me.
Yeah, we had that a guy on a podcast said that yesterday.
Oh, really?
Actually, yeah.
Okay, funny.
And I used it last week, so that's that's the
getting
theme.
around. That's cool.
That's the January, February theme. I want to talk about risk and risk management in terms of where you go with your business and career. I think you're a great example, Jeremy, because Jeremy, you know, you were in a great position, right? Like you were comfortable, you could have hung out there and done your thing for a long time. And risk and opportunity, right?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Detailers Roadmap. Hey, spoiler alert, that's us. We all know you need a kick-ass website in order to be successful with your business. The good news is at Detailers Roadmap, kick-ass websites, that's kind of what we do. With the latest performance, designs, and SEO strategies, Detailer's Roadmap is your one-stop shop to be successful on the web. And don't forget, we have the best support team in the industry. Whether you're an existing partner looking to improve your lead generation or you need a brand new website, Detailer's Roadmap is here to help you be successful on the web. So go to detailersroadmap.com/success and get started today. That's detailersroadmap.com/success. Walk us through, because I think a lot of new entrepreneurs starting new businesses, or maybe they've been in the detailing industry for a while and they're like, I just don't love what I'm doing right now. What else could I do? But I'm afraid. You know, there's that whole risk and fear and all that. You took a big leap, right? And you're the only guy with this, and it's an established brand. Like, you're not trying to launch a brand new brand and by yourself and all that.
But it is brand new here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there are choices to make, and you know, you have to provide for your family. You want to also be successful, but you also have to kind of understand that you've gotten to this point based off of your skill set, by the relationships that you've built, things like that. Do you want to grow some more, or were you comfortable doing what you were doing before? And I think, you know, a lot of growth comes from being uncomfortable and finding your way through it.
Yeah.
So I had an opportunity to join Naciol, and I did a lot of interviewing. You know, I wanted to feel comfortable in this position.
You interviewed them as well as they interviewed you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we, you know, I obviously got products to try and things like that, but they also provided me a list of emails and phone numbers. And they were confident enough to say, hey, reach out to these people and find out what their experiences are with our company, with our brand, with our products. And that's what I did. And the more and more I spoke to people, the more comfortable I got, while I was kind of peeling back the onion and finding out more and more about Naciol as a brand. We uncovered a lot of different things. And the things that really drove me were not just another ceramic coating company. We actually synthesize our own raw materials and provide them to other companies so they can make their ceramic coatings. A big portion of what we do business-wise is private label. So, you know, I was starting to get into that when I was at Rupus USA, doing more private label activity and things like that. I really liked it. And so I realized, hey, I'm going to have an opportunity to do more private label if I end up at Naciol. I'm going to be able to build a distribution network, because there really isn't one here. I'm going to be able to do my own marketing. I'm going to be able to set new policies and everything else. And this is a way for me to kind of grow a lot from a professional experience, build off of what I've had. But man, what a risk. You know, the one and only person in the US,
Right.
No pressure, right?
Yeah.
So I have a wonderful support team back at the headquarters in Turkey, and they are fantastic people to work with. And now we are adding some U.S. business related things and making some policies here that make it better for U.S. businesses to do business with Naciol. So we're building those relationships. We said that was the most important thing that we can possibly do, is build relationships. Building relationships, building trust, building product awareness and things like that. Man, it's a lot to take on for one person, but I'm telling you, it's been rewarding. Really, really rewarding. So a lot of risk there, but yeah, what I saw there was great people, great products, and something unique about the company that I could identify with that excited me enough to take this big risk.
Yeah. This guy that I met yesterday used, and I'll let you go, David, but this guy yesterday used, and I'd actually never heard it this way, but he talked about entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. And I'd never actually used the entrepreneur thing, which is basically, because we've been dealing with this, because I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs on my other stuff. And an intrapreneur is basically someone like yourself who loves the creation, but you do it within a bigger organization versus just going out on your own and doing it. And I thought that was a really cool way to do that. And some people are just like, I don't do either of those things. I want to be an employee and a manager, or I want to just be a cog, which is 100% fine. If that's where you're comfortable, that's what you like and all that. But I thought that was a super interesting thing, because you're taking risk as an entrepreneur in the same way that a guy that's an entrepreneur may take a risk starting a new thing, like on his own, right?
What I would love is, so, this history started a long time ago. The two of us together, when we were at Meguiar's, it wasn't just the two of us, so we had the East Coast team.
Right.
Maybe this is a good opportunity for you to talk about like how we kind of did our entrepreneur thing at Meguiar's.
Right. When you're part of a bigger company, a bigger entity, it's all about the big picture. And this is what we're going to do. This is our message. That's what we're doing. Everybody toes the line. And then
when 3M came in, that picture got a little bigger and got a little taller.
just a wee bit. But it's funny because we would talk. And so I'm driving up and down the Southeast. So I got a lot of windshield time. And he's driving up in the Northeast and we talk. I'm going to talk like into the wee hours. And just, so what do we do, man? We got to move this. And there was an edict. This is not to go into this market. Cannot. This is a disaster waiting to happen. Do not go there. So of course, Jeremy's like,
I think I'll go there.
I think I'm gonna go see if that'll work there. Dude, and he put it through the test, called, our other fellow guy, Dan, and myself, like, okay guys, we got something here, okay? We gotta do this. And we shifted the whole thing. So basically from California, this is the message, and we're like, we're gonna change it up a little bit. Let's send it back that way. And being able to do that, being able to think that way, allowed us to make our number, allowed us to help the team number, so everybody was able to take a couple of extra bucks home. We got scrapped for it. Oh my God, dude, what are you guys doing? You can't do that.
There's a certain individual that's still upset with me about that. It's been almost 20 years.
And it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And the one thing that they said, we're going to have claims all over the place, 20 years, not one claim.
So just so you know, in reference what we're talking about, Meguiar's had come out with the detailer line of bulk concentrates, and that was absolutely forbidden to go into the PBE market, the collision market. And most of my distribution was the PBE market or retail market. So, they put down some goals for us. Every territory had certain goals, and I didn't have a customer base that met that criteria. So, I put detailer. I took the detailer line of products and put them into warehouse distribution for the collision market, and then we went and did a whole bunch of promotions that we made ourselves.
On our own,
and put it all together, and that ended up being the biggest segment of distribution for the detailer line of chemicals. So that's why you can find it in body shops with metering systems mounted to the wall where you push the button and it already dilutes it.
Yeah, you had mentioned something about risk and just brought me back, and it goes back to Meguiar's because that was been the biggest chunk of my career. And I remember actually at SEMA, my first SEMA, and I'm like overwhelmed. I'm like, wow, it's just like information overload. And some guy comes up to me and he's walking around with like these folders and binders. I've been doing all my research. You're the brand I need to have in my dealership. And I was like, okay, cool. Where are you located? Oh, I'm in Tampa. I was like, great, it's gonna be my territory. And I was thinking, little opportunity, get a couple of bottles in the showroom, we're good. And this guy had a completely other vision. So I was like, okay, take me with you. And we did it. And one of the guys that was our manager at the time, our national sales manager, came from the dealership business. So he goes, that's never gonna work. It's not gonna happen. I've been on every side of that, it's not gonna happen. I said, come down to Florida, just come and take a look at the guy. This is my vision for this. We've never done that. Meguiar's does not do that. No one does that. So when you get a call and the guy says, man, sold so much of your product, we were able to really feed everybody that works on a commission, because if I sold our Honda parts, I was making 10 bones. I'm selling your stuff, I'm making 40 to 50. Big difference. And you were actually set up as a 3-step guy, so he could actually sell to other dealership programs and just take it full round, all the way around, and touch every aspect in the dealership. And that's where I learned, and it taught us a lesson. Wow, we can actually use our product to get into F&I, we can use our product to get into new car prep, used car recon, service drive. I think we got a winner here. And it came from someone else. I took the risk. I was like the one, can't do it. My boss left. I was like, great, I'm doing it. Thank goodness it worked. But that risk is what you gotta be willing to take. And it's Earl Nightingale. I listen to a lot of audiobooks because of the time. And Earl Nightingale, not only the voice, but just the message, said something that stood out to me. It's like, what's a rut? Nothing but a grave with the ends kicked out. If you don't jump out of it, you're just gonna stay there. Take a shot. And that's why I look at him, and he's telling me, he goes, hey, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm like, holy cow, dude, you're gonna do everything. I mean, it's like, that's huge, that's scary. Is my marketing on point? Is my thought process on point? Just like, wow. I envy it in a way, because you say, boy, I'd love that opportunity. Then you step back and you're like, oh, heck no. No. Whoa, way too much. But you see, part of that relationship is I'll see a post from Jeremy at Nasio. I'll like. I don't comment.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, but I won't comment. Not for any other reason, is because you comment, you just open yourself up to just a boatload of stuff that you may not want to do. So I like go in, and I usually like the person, not the brand. That's my friend.
It's a support system, right?
I don't know Nasio from a hole in the wall, but I know Jeremy. I know he's got integrity. We've been together. We've done it. And so people that I respect in the industry, that I see they'll post something, that's my way of supporting you. Your brand just happens to be what you're representing, but not who you are. So you won't see a lot of posts from me, but you'll see quite a few likes. And if I do something, it's very generic. That's not insulting to anyone. So that's my responsibility to my relationship with my friends, with my colleagues. Friends, few and far between, colleagues, many. You pick them. And if you got the same core value system, they kind of sort of like, they're not colleagues anymore. They've gone up a bunch of levels with me personally.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that just in this context, because we're all at a point in our careers where people begin to reward you both career and financially because of the experience and knowledge, and in a lot of cases they're paying for your network, right? They're paying for those connections, because that's one of the things you both, if you guys, when you left some Meguiar's and you started looking for other things, if you're at Rupus and you have a connection-based network. When I started working for Detailers Roadmap, that was one of the things that I bring. I have experience and business knowledge and strategy and process and all that. But one of the big things I bring is that I'm well connected and can help educate the company about kind of the ins and outs of the detailing industry, and I can make connections and those kind of things. And I say all that to kind of reinforce the point we made earlier, which is don't build bridges, build relationships. Don't burn bridges, build relationships. You need to build those bridges between people and be positive. We have so much negativity in the world and also in the industry, and it's been that way because there's tons of ego involved. I said yesterday, that's a huge spoiler alert. I don't know if you gentlemen are aware of this, but there is a little ego in this industry. So,
We've heard.
I know that's like the announcement of the century. But I don't think, especially if you're younger, newer to the industry, this just happens to be the way you run your life. It's not going to pay off for you long term if you try, if you're hurting people or you're kind of that guy that people avoid at the party or whatever. But by building those relationships, once you get into your second decade, third decade in the industry or whatever, that becomes a very important thing for you.
Well, we're sitting down outside today. I was just walking in. Hey, got 20 minutes.
I was thinking of the same thing.
It's just hilarious. We're just talking with another person there, and this guy's just walking up. He goes, hey, that's the guy who used to be at Meguiar's. I haven't been at Meguiar's since 2015. Okay? Never talk bad about it, whatever. Like you said, going back to burn your bridges. If you see the jumping around, hence, never burn your bridges, because you're going to run out of companies. Okay, you're going to run out of that opportunity. Now what? oh, geez, I got to backtrack. Too late now. Now you've established that standard. You've established a baseline, and it's not good. And it's not good for you, and it's not good for like the young guys. When I talk to them, and I'm doing a class. In fact, yesterday I did a CD event for the IDA. I hadn't done one in a while, so okay, Juan, I'll do it with you. Had 21 people. I'm like, okay, guys, stay off social media. Social media is not your friend. Okay. You may be looking at a guy who's posting up his Ferrari that he just did. He may not ever see another one. Those are few and far between. There's certain people that are going to say something or are going to post something, and you're going to take the visual. It's not the real world of the industry. So when you look at that, this part is good, this part is bad. The meat and potatoes are somewhere in the middle, and you're going to know if you're being sold. You know, if you're going to know if you're being just swindled. Don't marry the brands, and I'm like, by the way, I'm here representing a brand. Don't marry a brand, marry your talent and what you give to your business. Work your business, don't let your business work you, because if you're getting paid $300 for wash and wax, don't give them the, 18-hour paint correction, ceramic coating prep.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid for that. Learn your business, because you just made $12 an hour as compared to making the $55 an hour. And that's what I get out of it. That's what I get about not burning bridges. Be friendly with everyone. You never know. They could help you out. They may not hire you, but they might know someone that they can say, hey, this guy's pretty cool, known him for years, eyes closed. So that's just where I go.
That relationship thing cuts through all of the it cuts through all the selling and the BS, right? Because you've got the trust factor that's already been established, whether it's they know me or David or you, or they know somebody who vouches for us, right? All of a sudden you cut through a lot of trepidation, and you go in with a higher level of trust, and it's a better starting point. Oh, well, this guy he's never done me wrong. He's always represented everything well, and he's really easy to get along with, and so on and so forth. Or he's very helpful. He can help you. He'll pick up the phone and call him. He will help you. If you have people that vouch for you, that's where the relationships are so much more important than anything else.
A lot of times I had a conversation last night where I'm having a discussion about a certain topic in business, and then I'm like, here's where this is a resource you need to go to, like a person or a company, and a lot of times I'll say, okay, here's the company, here's the contact, and I usually joke and say, tell them Kevin Davis sent you. She'll probably charge you double, but tell them I sent you. But like, like I give permission, and not that my name carries a ton of weight, but I give them permission to piggyback off of a strong relationship that I know is there. Because it's not like, oh, well, Kevin Davis, whatever. But if they're like, oh yeah, I know Kevin, like to your point, I trust Kevin. If he had this conversation and feels good enough to have that recommendation, then it's somebody I at least should start that conversation with.
Well, if you're being recommended by someone, usually being recommended to someone by someone who's had a good experience with you. But there's no connection, but they have a great connection. They're good friends, they're a trusted source, and someone vouches and says, yeah, go see so-and-so, go see Jeremy, he's great at what he does. Hey, David's helped out, he's been great at what he does. That just added that validation. And so that person can say, I can go into this blindly. You may have a personality clash, but if you keep it straight, you're good. And that's where, that keeping that Rolodex, for those dated, your data file, keeping that. And I love business cards, as sick as that sounds, because I still have business cards from like way back in the day. I'm like, wow, I wonder if the guy's still there. I'm gonna shoot him a call, just to, how's the family? Never like, hey, how's business? How's the family? Your wife doing good, the kids? And it starts, that rebuilding of that relationship that you've let go for whatever reason. Life gets in the way of everybody. But you go back and you connect, and you're like, wow, you get a good vibe. You get that, the adrenaline flows, because you're like, that was really cool. I can't believe that was that conversation that we had. And you pick up, like, if you haven't done it in 5 years. And that's when I look at that.
I would say there's another aspect here, which is, I think there's some fulfillment as a human being in building good relationships. You know, I see you or I see you and walking down the halls towards each other. Naturally, we start smiling, and then we come in for the hug and things like that. And it's again a lot more of that soul fulfilling type of relationship, and that's way beyond selling soap and wax and ceramic coatings and websites and stuff like that. There's a genuine connection there, and honestly, that's I think what everybody should be striving for in the detailing world.
I think that's awesome. I think that's a great place to land the plane, as Mike Rowe likes to say on his podcast. Give me, how do people find each of you and the company? Spell your company as well, because it's, I was asking last night, is it O, is it I, is it I and then O? So I was trying to, so David, go ahead.
Pro Products, ProWax.com. That is your link to everything in our line. Anything as far as contact, you can reach me directly at DPIT. I'm not even going to give you the email because it's kind of like weird. Follow us on ProWax.com. That will give you contact to all of us. We're on Instagram as well. We're on Facebook as well. Feel free to follow either the company or me. We're interconnected to try to reach everyone and give us an opportunity to talk to you if this is what you're interested in. If not, hey, we're good. We're friends. We'll catch each other down the road.
Jeremy?
So Instagram is jeremy.nasial, and we can find us at nasial.com. And so to kind of remember about Nasial, we're actually, Nasial, I don't have a big, here we go. We got a logo.
There you go.
We'll go with that. So NA for nano, SIO for SIO2, so now you'll always remember.
There you go.
Hey, nice.
So SIO2, L for liquids, nano ceramic liquids.
Nice. I like that. Very cool.
Nice.
All right, and you can find me, detailersroadmap.com, and all of our Instagram at detailersroadmap, and you can reach out to me on Facebook and Instagram and pretty much everywhere else. So, because I'm everywhere and I get tired of looking at my own face. But thanks, guys, very much. I appreciate you guys joining me, and we'll come in for a hug later.
Head over to detailersroadmap.com and get your one-stop success solution today.